Looking at Richco on the Bloomberg terminal, you dig in. Evan Spiegel now ranked 280, Bobby Murphy 281. They have $5.4 billion. How is this being broken down? How much more was added today?
It's an incredible, sort of rocket ship, basically, they're riding on Snap. So today, really, they added 1.7 billion to their individual fortunes, and that's just from what it listed at $17 yesterday. So if you look back at the course of their fortunes, they were nowhere in 2011, 2012. All of a sudden, 2014, you get this $10 billion valuation of Snap. And now I think it closed at $28 billion today. So it's one of the all-time fantastic growth stories. It's just whether it's going to continue or not. And
now perhaps their cash is a little bit more liquid. We'll see how much they start spending. How does this rank them in comparison to the rest of the big tech billionaires out there, 280, 281?
They're definitely up there. So, the classic names to compare with might be Jack Dorsey of Twitter. He's actually only got about 1.5 billion. He also,
poor guy.
Yeah, I know. You've got to feel sorry for him. He's got two jobs. He's also CEO of Square. And then along with the other sort of startup, sort of unicorn head honchos, the three Airbnb co-founders are about 3.6, so they're ahead of them, and they're just behind Travis and Garrett Camp of Uber.
Interesting.
But obviously they're way behind, say, the Jeff Bezoses, the Mark Zuckerbergs, and the Bill Gates, who are up in the 50, 70, $90 billion range.
Give us, not only, we were just looking at a screen there, talk us through it, because we want not just the founders that made a lot of money, but also those venture capitalists that made a big bet in the early days.
Yeah, exactly. So Benchmark, just today, they made about 900 million and they've got about a $2 billion position. And then Lightspeed Ventures, there's a great story about how kind of Evan Spiegel decided, after dealing with Lightspeed Ventures, that he'd make sure he had voting control of Snap, and they've got about $600 million gain this year.
Look at that, $613 million, and we're going to be, of course, looking at my conversation with Jeremy Liu, who was one of the first investors, of course, at Lightspeed Ventures. What about the bounce that we tend to see on the first day? We know that it's up 44% today. Twitter was up 73% on its first day of trading. So these sorts of fortunes aren't always stable.
Yeah, exactly. It doesn't really sort of point towards what's going to be happening in the next year. Twitter up, as you say, something like 70%. It's now off its IPO price, down about 30. Facebook was pretty flat on the first day of IPO, and now it's up, since its IPO, 260%.
Hence old Zuckerberg's wealth. How is Spiegel and Murphy's sort of fortunes changed in the founding of this company in particular? You were talking us through how it was like a rocket ship and the fact that it all sped up so quickly, but is this now the point that they actually cash out? Because a lot of it is going to be locked in for the foreseeable future for us.
Yeah, so they both sold about 16 million shares in the offering. So they've kind of taken home at the $17 price, $272 million. You get tax on that, but they're looking at a bank account of about 180 million. In terms of the Snap shares, there'll be restrictions on when they can actually start selling. And obviously they've got a huge position each in Snap. It's sort of about 20%, and so each. So if they started selling that, then you'd assume the value of their holding would drop down. But no one can feel sorry for them. They've done very well, and I'm sure they'll be celebrating in LA tonight.